In a dark cold night, a witch muttered a spell as she was burning. She engraved a never-ending curse not on the sun nor the moon, but on the sky so that it will remain even when the night ends. She grants eternal life to those who stick up for the truth. Oblivion to those that turn a blind eye. A young girl named Ji-hee excitedly shows her mother her work. Her mother states it's pretty but asks what it is. She responds it's her novel that will be launching today. A famous artist drew the cover for her. She had to wait half a year to get it. She tells her mother that the blonde-hair girl is the protagonist Delia. She was born an orphan that didn't succumb to her faith. Because of her God-given beauty and sharp mind, handsome men flock to her side. Her mother turns around and asks if she'll be attending her retirement ceremony. Ji-hee averts her eyes and states she doesn't know. Her mother tells her not to bring her car or else she'll be stuck in traffic. And to wear the dress she bought for her. It's a long-sleeve dress with flowers and other decorations. But it's not her daughter's style. Her mother states a lot of people would do anything to wear such an expensive dress. Her daughter tells her to wear it then. Her mother's eyes become dull. If she was her age she would have. At the retirement ceremony they asked Professor Yung Gwynam to come forward. Her life as a history scholar has come to an end after 20 years. She has reached academic fame and also taught many talented students. Despite this she does not feel fulfilled. She wonders what she will do now. They're taking a group photo, then she noticed her daughter in the audience. She was very happy to see her wearing the dress. Later at the bus stop her mother tells her she'll ruin her eyes if she stares at her phone so much. Her mother compliments her stating she looks great in the dress. She responds she only wore it because it's her retirement ceremony. Her mother has always envied girls who walked around wearing things like that since she was young. Her daughter tells her it's not too late for her to dress like that. But her mother feels she's too old to do that. Ji-hee becomes mortified. She asks nervously if a duke is higher than a baron. Her mother informs her that the highest rank is duke and the lowest is baron. Ji-hee tells her mother that she thought the baron was the highest rank. So she wrote the novel that way. Her mother laughs hysterically, exclaiming she calls herself an author. She tells her mother that she asked her before but her question was always ignored. Her mother nonchalantly states she should have double-checked on then cross-checked, which is a must for writers. But her daughter did not have the time because she had to finish the novel before the deadline. However, her mother sees that, has the problem, because proper artists are careful with every detail they write down. And scribbling things down doesn't make a story just words. Furthermore, she states a novel like hers won't last a year. Her daughter exclaims she doesn't care, even if just one person finds comfort in her writing. She would write for that one person, because they would be just like her. Her mother cuts her off, stating even that one person would laugh at her. She states she hopes she doesn't go around saying she's a daughter of a history professor. She gets up then exclaimed a smart professor like her would never make mistakes, but an idiot like her gets the smallest things wrong. She must take after her dad, whose name she doesn't even know. She tells her not to worry, she'll never tell anyone she's her daughter. Ji-hee turns to leave and her mother exclaims she was wrong. Ji-hee coldly states she's right, she had said nothing wrong. But she could have put the facts aside and comforted her. She looks at her mother crying with resentment. Her mother was terrified by her words. Ji-hee turns and runs away. Her mother shouts her name. At that moment the traffic light is about to turn green. Her mother sees this clearly. Trunk-kun comes at her at full force from nowhere. But her mother won't allow her to get isekai. Ji-hee falls to the ground. She gets up. Her eyes turn red at the scene. Her mother is lying on the ground and she's not moving. She goes over to the body holding her, while crying. There's blood everywhere, but her mother thanks God that she's okay as she loses consciousness. She hears unfamiliar voices as she opens her eyes slowly. Her vision is a bit blurry. She sees a crowd of people. She inquires if Ji-hee is okay. She noticed their clothes and wondered if a festival or parade is happening. A man with a long axe exclaimed if she knows what she's done. She calls him a old man and asked what he's talking about. The guy gets upset and calls her a peasant. She exclaimed she's not a dimwit. She understands the situation better if he explained it calmly. She apologizes, stating she didn't know they were filming. A handsome man with cold red eyes looks down at her. The bystanders whisper among themselves. She asked if they've seen a young girl. The man grabs her shirt and she then saw her reflection in his armor. She shoves him away and the other knights rush towards him, calling him captain. She takes the opportunity to investigate her body. She noticed her blonde beautiful hair and her soft delicate skin. She wonders what's going on. The knights exclaim she had dared to step on a duke's cloak and dared to attack a knight. She holds her face in panic, wondering what's happening. The captain grabs her shirt and tells her to be grateful that their master is a duke. Had she had stepped on a baron's cloak, her neck would have been blown off. A knight behind him face becomes tense. He blames Moulton for stealing their master's credit. If not, he would be a baron. Her eyes open wide and she tries to hold back her laughter. She suddenly burst out laughing to everyone's surprise. She announced that a duke's ranking is higher than that of a baron. A baron is at the bottom of the ranking. Someone slapped her for insulting the duke. The knights surround and step on her. She exclaims it hurts and asks for help. The cold-hearted guy with red eyes remind me of Musin Jackson. He stares down at her. She becomes serious and shouts enough. They are all taken aback. She stated she knows they're nobles and she's sorry for stepping on his cloak. But it wasn't necessary to beat her up in the middle of the street in broad daylight. Anybody seeing this would think that she had committed a heinous crime. She then asked the bystanders why didn't they help her. She asked if they are content with just standing around and watching, and not helping when someone is being beaten to a pulp. She then directs her anger to the guy with red eyes. She tells him he didn't even bat an eye when his men were making a mess of her. She exclaimed stepping on his clothes must have shattered his pride altogether. She gets close and personal and tells him to act his age. He's a grown-up and should stop being a cheapskate. The knight's jaws drop. She then turns and runs away immediately. The captain ordered his knights to capture her. The duke orders them to leave her alone. A knight exclaims, "What would the people think?" He repeats, "Let's go." Moments later she sits in a corner reflecting on what had happened. If she were hit by the long axe that the knights were carrying, she would be dead. Blood falls from her mouth. She wondered how those brutes could step on her like that. Her body is in pain. She looks at the reflection in the puddle and remember that she got into an accident while trying to save her daughter and woke up there. The face of the body she's in seems familiar. She wonders if it is a dream. A dream so real that she can even feel pain. Two young childlike beings with halos and holding each other's hands inform her it's not a dream. They smile and call her Delia. One cold winter night she was abandoned in a stable. She had managed to stay alive by eating leftovers from the trash. This little wandering child is none other than the poor orphan. The little troublemaker Delia. Today in the plaza, troublemaker Delia had accidentally stepped on Duke's Farrell's cloak. Had the cloak belonged to a baron or the emperor, Delia would have lost her neck for sure. No one was willing to open their doors for her, little poor orphan Delia. Fancy dresses embroidered with jewels and shining treasure of gold and silver are things that Delia cannot have in her life. Troublemaker Delia who brings menace left and right. One of them whispers, "Beware of the man with red eyes." Suddenly they run away. Delia wondered what happened. She then remembered the words of her daughter talking about the female lead Delia. Her face becomes pale as she realizes she is in the book her daughter wrote. A group of knights are running towards her. She wondered if they are the people from before. She runs away as the knights announce that they should check the shops and alleys thoroughly. Suddenly someone covers her mouth. He puts a finger over his lips and tells her to be quiet. The nights rushed by. Delia noticed he has a vanilla scent. He releases Delia and she asked what he's doing out of the blue. She thanks him for helping her. His eyes open wide and he reveals he's the one being chased. After careful analysis she realized he is a thief. She calls him and asks what his stole. He declared that he stole a woman's heart. Narrator speaking: that was the lamest line I ever heard, but he's so handsome that it's the best line I ever heard. Delia was dumbfounded. Delia explored her surroundings when she noticed a man telling a woman to fill his sack with apples. Her mind goes to her daughter. She believes she'll be fine since she had prepared deposit and insurance. Also there's severance pay so she doesn't need to worry about her livelihood. Delia then realizes she has nothing in her name. She searched her clothes and she finds a sun-shaped pendant. So she has nothing that can be monetized. She sees a man along the street. She asked where they are. He looked at her like she was an alien. She took a moment to think about it, and if someone asks that in the year 2022 it would be odd. She attempts a different approach and approached a man sitting on a bench. She tells him she's not very good at counting and asked what year 15 years ago would be. He thinks for a moment and tells her it's currently year 351 in the imperial calendar. Then 15 years ago would be year 336. She compliments the man saying he's really smart. Then asked if he's well versed in politics. He proudly states he has interest in what's happening in the world. She inquired what's happening in the neighboring country. He informed her that there are more than two, so she has to be more specific. She tells him the one above them. A pulsing vein appears on his forehead. He states there's been an uproar. They've been running over to the Imperium border. She decided if there are people willing to abandon their country to cross borders, then that means things are better off in her country. The man shows how bothered he is that they are entering his country. The public order is in ruins and a lot of people have lost their jobs. Delia realizes that some of what he's saying is public hatred. She can't take all his words at face value. With puppy dog eyes she asks where can she go to make money. He tells her she's very strange. Then his exclaims they have an illegal entrance over here. She runs away at full speed. She is chased by guards. She finally escaped gasping for air. Suddenly she's hit by the scent of beautiful flowers. She looks up and sees beautiful noble women dressed in all manner of fashion. She's hit the jackpot. The area is loaded with more money than the other neighborhood. She decides to go find a job. She sees two young ladies selling flowers. She realized that capital-free creative economy is the perfect time to make money. She noticed a girl with a basket. Flowers have wilted all at once. She sneakily followed behind them to a flower garden. She is memorized by its beauty. She greeted two girls who completely ignore her. She asked if they are picking them to sell and how much they get for one stalk. On which one are the best sellers. She tries to pick a flower but is rudely pushed away. She asked why they are pushing her. They respond that that is their turf and it belongs to them. Narrator speaking: those kids are more of gangsters than girls. Someone tells her if she is trying to pick some flowers there's a lot more outside the west gate. It's quite far so people rarely go there. The young girl is on her way as well. Delia is relieved to see a nice girl. The other two had scared her a lot. The girl asked if she just moved there. She offered to lend her her basket to pick flowers together. She introduces herself as Delia and the girl introduced herself as Bellucci. At the west gate they both pick wonderful flowers. Narrator speaking: I wish these flowers existed. They separate, selling each at different places. She noticed it swarming with competition. She analyzed the competition of girls forcing the flowers and noblewomen. She calls out to a noble woman. She tells her to scram. She respond. She was talking about her dress. She thought it would go well with her dress. The noblewoman fell for her flattery instantly. She takes the flower and the noblewoman states her dress has gotten brighter. Delia tells her it would be more stunning if she got one for her hat. A flower for a flower. She tells her she'll take 5 stalks. Delia beams with joy. She takes out her wallet. Delia thinks in her mind that this is how you do business, brats. The noblewoman asked how much is it, but sadly she doesn't know. She said she's not good at counting and puts up one finger. The noblewoman asks which coin. She has never bought any flowers before, so she doesn't know the price either. She tells her to pay her as much as she wants. A group of girls exclaims 5 pharaohs. They swarm her and all asked her to buy a flower. Seeing her inevitable defeat, she walks away ashamed to face Bellucci. She feels so disappointed in herself for doing business without the market price. Ferrum stands for iron in Latin. Also, iron coins are easily corroded and are of low value but easy to reproduce. She's sure there must also be a gold and silver coins that have a much higher value. She didn't realize Latin is used everywhere in the country. The name of this country's imperium is Latin. She begins to relax and thinks it's fun to learn about it one by one. She wonders where she's supposed to sleep if she has no home. She needs to earn some money to go to an inn. There is no competitive advantage in selling flowers. They're easy to get, so anyone can sell them, but she doesn't have anything else to sell. She ponders a different strategy. She stumbles upon a hideous house. She thought to herself they should have cleaned it up 'cause it's now trash. Suddenly she realized that's how she'll differentiate. She grins. Sometime later in the noble neighborhood, no one is buying flowers from the little girls. Some are crying and trying to comfort their friends. A set of noblewomen run past them hoping that the place will be open before the flowers with her. These girls look at themselves. They are sure they heard them say flowers. They follow after the noblewomen, until they were out of breath. What they find is an army of noblemen and noblewomen waiting in line. One of them noticed the tent and noticed Bellucci as well. A woman exits the tent, was asked by a friend if the rumors are true as told. She gives it a thumbs up. A noblewoman wondered if it was really trustworthy. Inside is a set of beautiful flowers and Delia covered in a cloak. Sometime earlier, Delia found Bellucci and was carrying boards in her hand. She was crying, much to Delia's dismay. She dropped everything and rushed to her side. While crying, Bellucci stated that she had only sold 2 stalks of flower and her mother will hit her again if she went to her like that. Delia grabs her shoulder and tells her to listen. She planned to put up a tent where they can make a lot of money compared to what she can get from just selling flowers. She asked if Bellucci can help her. It didn't take them too long to finish the tent. Bellucci asks what was her plan and why she was putting on gloves on such a hot day. Bellucci exclaims they must pick up some flowers before the sunset. Delia asked what are the functions of a glove. Bellucci responded to protect your hands when it's cold and to protect your hands when you're doing rough work or when you're in a fight. Also, noble ladies wear gloves, although their gloves don't look safe at all. Delia praises her for the answer. Bellucci hoped she wasn't planning to do anything dangerous. Delia took off her pendant and asked her to tie the top of the cloak. Delia knows that Bellucci hasn't done any other work than selling flowers. On that normally she doesn't eat proper meals. She responds a person's hand can reveal what kind of life he or she has led. Just by looking at their hands you can tell if they are child, man or a woman, your health conditions and what they do for a living. For example, Bellucci hands are a bit rough yet there are no calluses. The uneven surface on her fingernails is proof that she lacks protein. That's how much information her hands hold. Also her physique. The way she talks, dress and walk, on all those information can be hidden by doing what she's doing right now. She tells Bellucci from now on she's an adult who holds mystical powers. She tells Bellucci to go to the streets and look for someone. A person draped in the most beautiful dress yet wear a dark expression on her face. She only needs to say a few simple words and she will follow. These words are, "Excuse me ma'am, I know of a good fortune teller who can get anything." Bellucci didn't expect the lady to actually follow her. But one person isn't enough. If they want to earn money they need to tell more people. Delia informed her that one is more than enough. In a matter of moments her legend spread like wildfire. The noblewoman told her friends she can get proper bed rest, and to be honest her worries have caused her lots of sleepless nights. After that everyone wanted to know where that place was. Because as we know rumors spread faster than a plague. The noblewomen were interested as their town never had a fortune-teller showing up before. She asked which district she was from. She states as someone bearing the power of mystical sorcery. She can hardly remember where she comes and go. She asks where someone can go to learn sorcery. Delia noticed the woman has been saying irrelevant things. She wonders if she's gauging her abilities, or she finds her matter difficult to say. A ring sparkles and Delia notice it's very thin. It's a bit too simple for a young lady from a noble family to wear. She realized it's a gimel ring. The gimel ring is a first-rate engagement ring popular with medieval nobles. It features sharing that can be combined into one ring. Each person gets to keep one ring, one for the groom and one for the bride. And for the remaining one, it was customary for the witness to vow to keep it. The third ring will later be united with the bride's and groom's ring and the wedding day, turning into one ring that will shine on the bride's ring finger. She exclaims a prophecy is upon her. If she finds it curious, place her money in the bucket. She finds it unbelievable because she has not uttered a single word. She is certain that the woman is a fraud. She calls her nothing more than nonsensual gibberish. Delia exclaims among these people raising a toast, not one of them understands how she feel. On the day it was made 3 people shed tears. 2 were tears of joy. The remaining one was tears of blood. The woman was surprised. How did she know? Delia exclaims this is the power of a mystical sorcerer.